Holly Holm versus Irene Aldana is a women's bantamweight bout. Holly Holm has achieved a record of 13 wins, 5 losses. Irene Aldana has achieved a record of 12 wins, 5 losses. Alright, so Holly Holm is currently 38 years old, almost 39 years old in about a month. Irene Aldana, 32 and a half years old, which means Irene Aldana is going to have a huge age advantage in this fight. Alright, so Holly Holm is currently 5 foot 8 inches tall. Irene Aldana 5 foot 9 inches tall, so a little bit of a height advantage there. But Holly Holm does have the reach advantage at 69 inches, and Irene Aldana has a 68.5 inch reach. Alright, so the Tapology predictions for this are pretty split down the middle. 60% say Holm is going to win, mainly by decision. Some people say KO. 40% say Aldana by decision, and some say by KO. Not many people are saying by submission. They're either saying mainly decision or KO. That's out of 1,200 different votes. The betting odds for this fight are minus 125 for Holly Holm, plus 100 for Irene Aldana. So it's a very, very close fight. Alright, so Holly Holm started off her career with 2 nice wins, followed by a second round KO inside of Bellator, a second round head kick KO inside of Legacy FC, a second round KO in Legacy FC, and then a unanimous decision win in Havoc, a 5th round head kick KO in a title bout in Legacy FC, all of that getting her into the UFC, where she ended up fighting Raquel Pennington, who she ended up beating by split decision. After that win, she ended up fighting Marion Reneau, who she also beat by decision, which got her a title shot against Ronda Rousey, and we all know what happened there. In the second round, she ended up landing that signature head kick KO, knocking Ronda Rousey out cold, getting that belt strapped around her waist, and she was set to fight Ronda Rousey back in 2016, I think in January. But that fight got canceled, and she wanted to stay active, so for some odd reason, she decided to fight Miesha Tate instead, which was a horrible decision, as late in the 5th round, she ended up getting the loss by rear naked choke in 3 minutes, 30 seconds of that 5th round. After she lost the belt, she ended up fighting another champion in Valentina Shevchenko, who she ended up losing to by unanimous decision. And in her next fight after that, she fought Germaine de Randamie and lost that fight as well by unanimous decision. After those 3 losses, her career looked a little slim, but she came back with a nice win after that, with a 3rd round head kick KO highlight fashion, just like that Ronda Rousey KO in the 3rd round. But in her next fight after that, against a champion, Chris Cyborg, she ended up losing by unanimous decision. After that loss, she came back with a nice unanimous decision win over Megan Anderson, who is set to fight Amanda Nunes for the belt later on this year. She ended up winning that fight by decision, but in her next fight against Amanda Nunes, she did end up losing that fight by 1st round head kick KO. After that loss, she came back with a nice unanimous decision win over Raquel Pennington, which gets her this main event slot against Irene Aldana. Alright, now let's look at her opponent, Irene Aldana. Alright, so Irene Aldana started her career off pretty okay with 3 straight wins, but in her 4th ever pro MMA bout, ended up getting her 1st ever loss by 3rd round KO. After that loss, she came back with a 1st round rear naked choke submission inside Invicta FC over Peggy Morgan, followed by a 1st round rear naked choke over Colleen Schneider. But in her next fight, in a main event spot against Tanya Evinger for the belt inside of Invicta FC, she ended up losing by 4th round TKO. After that loss, she came back with a 1st round KO and then another first round KO, which got her into the UFC, where she ended up fighting Leslie Smith, but ended up losing that fight by unanimous decision. And in her next fight after that, against Caitlin Chukagian, ended up losing that fight as well by split decision. After those 2 losses in the UFC, she was dangerously close from being cut from the promotion, but luckily she ended up winning her next fight by unanimous decision against Talita Bernardo, and her next fight after that by split decision against Lucy Pudilova, and a 3rd round submission over Betch Correia. After those 3 wins in the UFC, she got a big step up in Raquel Pennington, and ended up losing the very close bout by split decision. After that loss, she came back with a unanimous decision win over Vanessa Mello, and in her next fight against number 2 ranked Ketlen Vieira at the time, she ended up winning that fight by first round KO from a left hook that just stunned Ketlen Vieira, dropped her, and she finished her off with some ground punches. Alright, so this fight is really close, as you guys know. The odds say it, minus 125 for Holly Holm, plus 100 for Irene Aldana. Literally everything says this is a 50-50 bout. This is honestly a very hard prediction for me to make. I honestly don't know who I'm going to pick. I really don't, like, as I'm talking to you guys right now, I really don't know who I'm going to pick. Holly Holm and Aldana, they're so even, man. I mean, like, no matter what, this fight's probably going to stay on the feet. I doubt it's going to go to the ground. This is definitely going to be, like, they're going to be trying to knock each other out. If one of them gets a knockout over the other, they're for sure going to get a title shot. But, like, I mean, it's so tough. It's so 50-50. Honestly, Aldana did get that nice knockout over Ketlen Vieira in her last fight. I mean, like, Irene Aldana, if you look at her whole UFC career, she's so far had, I think, 8 fights inside the UFC. She's so far 5-3. Her first 2 fights in the UFC were losses by decision to Katlyn Chookagian and Leslie Smith. She did come back with 3 straight wins after that, but 2 of those fights weren't against that good of competition. Her next fight after that against Betch Correia, pretty okay competition at the time. Her fight after that, Raquel Pennington, she did lose that one. Came back with the win over Vanessa Mello. Not the best fighter. I mean, her most notable win, obviously, would be that Ketlen Vieira first round KO. But I don't think she's gonna knock out a person like Holly Holm. I don't see that happening. I see this fight going 5 rounds. And I mean, Holly Holm's been in a couple 5-round fights in her career so far. She is older, which makes me skeptical about that whole situation. But I mean, Holly Holm, as I keep on saying, Holly Holm has so much experience fighting in so many main events, so many title shots. I do think that cardio is just gonna play a big part in this fight. Most of I mean, Irene Aldana's last fight ended in a first round KO. I don't think this one it will. I think this will go all the way, and I do think Holly Holm is going to win by unanimous decision. All right. If you agree, disagree, or have something to say, make sure to put in the question below, and I respect you every single one of those comments. Make sure to like, subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss the absolute best MMA content out there. Make sure to check out all of my other videos. I'm going to be posting every single prediction for this UFC fight card. It's going to be absolutely amazing. If you guys had fun with this video, make sure to like, subscribe. I'm out of here.